Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. We're talking with nonprofits about the good things that are going on in the community. And tonight we're going to be talking with the Soroptimist International of Lake Oswego and West Linn and some of the projects that they're working on. Starting out, we'll talk with Roxanne Waterman, who is the Vice President. Thanks for being here, Roxanne.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, MetroEast, for giving us this opportunity to talk with your delightful audience. I encourage the audience to get out a paper and pencil because we're going to want to hear from you. I'm going to start from the real broad and bring it right down to our club fast.
Before you get going, let me introduce our other guest too, just so they'll know who the heck is on the screen with me. This is Danielle Tudor, who is an activist, an advocate, and a rape survivor.
Yes.
And you are also a Soroptimist too.
Yes, I am.
As am I now. So
yes.
We're sisters here.
Yes.
So before we get into how you're involved with this, go ahead, Roxanne, and give us the big picture, if you would.
The big picture, I don't know if it's on the screen or not, but we have 1,300 clubs. We're in 19 countries and territories. The United Nations recognizes our human rights work. So, like I said, get your paper and pencil out.
So you did bring a graph that kind of illustrates how big this organization is. It's an international club. How many countries did you say?
19 countries
19.
and territories.
Wow.
1,300 clubs. So I don't know how many eyes that makes, that we are watching human trafficking, child abuse, domestic violence, and we want it to stop. Stop.
And Soroptimist is the word means best for women. Is that correct? It's about you're supporting women and children, women and youth, as far as helping them reach their goals and getting rid of those things that are obviously huge barriers and obstacles, like the sex trafficking and that kind of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you write down the contact information, both the web address and the email address, we will respond to your inquiries regarding this worldwide organization of people who continuously work to improve the conditions in the world for people who have been abused physically, mentally, and emotionally, become renewed and restored. I already said we're determined to stop that human trafficking.
And you're making great efforts at it, because I know some of the programs that are part of Soroptimist are amazing. You're doing really great work, or we're doing really great work now that I'm part of it too. Danielle, you became involved with Soroptimist. How did you become involved?
I actually became involved with Soroptimist when they reached out to me to actually speak at one of their events.
Okay, because you do have speakers that come regularly,
yes,
correct?
We do.
Yes, yes.
And you spoke at the event and...
Yes, I did. And once I learned more about what they do, I decided it was a great organization that I wanted to be a part of. So I have joined the Lake Oswego West Linn chapter. So I'm proud to be a member of that one.
So you do regular speaking engagements all over? Is this something you do regularly as part of your activism and your advocacy work?
Yes, I do. Lately, I've been very busy this last legislative session working on some stuff, and I've been part of a legislative work group dealing with issues with the parole board. So
tell me about that. The parole board. There's been some new things going on with that. So give me a little background, if you would. And then tell me what's going
be happy to. You know, in 1979. I lived in Southeast Portland, actually not too far from here, and I was a 17-year-old that was just, home alone one evening, and someone broke into our home. It was a stranger, and he raped me, and that was 1979. He was not caught until 7 years later.
Really?
And he had committed a total of 9 rapes that we know of. The ones that occurred in my area, by the time he was caught, we were beyond the statute of limitations, so he could not be prosecuted for 8.
What was the statute?
It was 3 years at the time.
3 years.
Yes, so it was my evidence, which was a composite sketch that I gave law enforcement that night that actually caught him 7 years later.
Really?
Yet I would be locked out of the justice system. Yes.
Wow.
So the rape that he was prosecuted for was a case that actually the Gresham area is very familiar with. It's Tiffany Edens, and she was 13 years old at the time. So that was 1986 that he attacked her, 1987 that he went to trial and was sent to prison. So It wasn't until 2008 that I was contacted again by the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office to get involved and start attending parole hearings. And quite honestly, when I was first contacted, I said no.
Because you didn't want to dredge that all up again?
No, you know what? A survivor, that's probably one of their worst fears is if I go back there, who will I find? And I was afraid that I was going to find that terrified 17-year-old again. And you know what? I'm so glad I changed my mind and said yes, because what many survivors don't realize is as you grow and mature, you change on the inside too. And I'm very proud to say now that I am a force to be reckoned with my offender.
No doubt,
Amen.
Yes, yes,
Amen.
yes. And that was, this is someone that was on his way to become a Gresham police officer when they caught him.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
That's a scary thought right
It
there.
is. So there have been many different things with the parole board that have not gone right in this case. And it is a case that really has really helped redefine a lot of areas of the parole board. The most recent that was really a passion of mine is in 2010, I testified at my first parole hearing with my offender. In 2012, I was told by the parole board I would not be allowed to attend the parole hearing to speak.
And why was that?
They changed their rules after the 2010 hearing because my offender brought a lawsuit against the parole board because I was not the victim of incarceration, which was correct.
Even though you were a victim of his.
Yes, even though I was a documented victim. And so after that 2012 hearing, it took a lawsuit by the National Crime Victims Law Institute to get me into that parole hearing to testify.
Wow.
And when I left that hearing, I knew that had to change because I knew there were a lot more people out there just like me who have every right, to attend their offender's parole hearing and give a statement. It's taken us 3 years. But in the last month and a half here, we now have a new definition of who is a victim for parole hearing purposes. And it now includes people like me that were locked out of the system, no fault of their own.
Right.
And for me, it was statute of limitations. I was also involved in the sentencing part. And it includes people like that as well. If you're involved in the sentencing aspect, even though they're not being prosecuted for your crime, you still have that right. Plea bargains happen all the time.
Wow.
Are they any less of a victim? No, they're not.
No,
they're not, and they should have that right.
You must feel really good about having
I do.
helped to make that change happen.
I do, and it's something, I want other survivors to know your story and your voice matters. And Soroptimist is about that and the things that they do. I had never heard of them until they reached out to me and said, hey, you're a person that we want to hear from. And then to hear the types of things that they do, it's incredible. And that's why I joined. It's not just my issue or my cause. There are so many issues and causes that affect women, that they're going after. And it's awesome.
That's really powerful stuff that you're going through. Now you, I don't know if it was you or somebody else who was the Soroptimist who arranged for Danielle to come speak. You have other speakers who come. Are the speakers always about issues like this, issues that you're working on as a Soroptimist?
Yes, they're all Soroptimist points of interest. We just had a speaker that has spent time in India, in Calcutta. There is a very 16,000 sex trafficked women there, doing 20 tricks a night.
Oh, Lord.
And believe it or not, some of them get pregnant. Well, what happens at night when they're doing their survival, the children are put out on the street.
Oh.
So that was one of our speakers, Rebecca Roque. If you ever want to have her, she's phenomenal. But I want to say how proud the Lake Oswego Wesleyan Club is to have you for a member, and how much we appreciate your educating us and the audience about your experiences and your proactive work. You're an outstanding example of how victims can become victorious, and we do appreciate your leadership. Our club also has fundraisers. Do we have time for me to go into that? Okay, we have a fundraiser coming up September 19th at Lee's Farms in Tualatin. It's called the Harvest Festival.
That's your big fundraiser of the year, isn't it?
It's our premier fundraiser, and this is the 5th consecutive year we've had it. We welcome sponsors, volunteers, and most of all, participants to join us. Please mark your calendar and save the date.
I hear that's a very fun one.
As we live, love, and lead together, planting seeds under shade trees where we may never sit, we welcome each of you to share your endurance and capacity and vision for a better world with us. Please contact Soroptimist International, Lake Oswego, West Linn Club. We consider your involvement a blessing.
How nice. Sounds lovely. I know. I remember talking with, I think it was Pam Banning about that before. It just sounded like so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah. You had fun too, right?
Yeah. Wonderful time.
Good,
Yes.
good. What else do you want people to know about the Soroptimists and the work that they're doing against human trafficking and other sorts of abuse against women?
Well,
I know that we're going to, that we'll have you on again because it's this ongoing work. It's going to be, an ongoing fight, and it's a huge. And even the I-5 corridor. You talk about India, but the I-5 corridor is a huge magnet for sexual predators.
Oh,
people might be interested to know that Soroptimist was modeled after Rotary, and it was formed in, I believe, 1922 in Oakland. So we're about ready for a 100-year anniversary also.
I think we should have big parties then.
Yeah.
And we don't just try to punish people that have been perpetrators. We're also working on renewal programs to help restore the thinking and renew the mind and the heart. We want people to have tough skins so they don't get offended and they're not critical and they're not mean, and soft hearts instead of hard hearts and soft skins where they get offended and bang
Sounds
on
reasonable
people.
to me.
Yeah.
Sounds
So,
reasonable to me.
Yeah.
We want all the help. We welcome men and women. We do appreciate your time and involvement with us.
Right, great. Danielle, before we run out of time, for those who are survivors of crimes like you have been a survivor of, what's the best advice you can give to them to move on with your life?
Oh my goodness, go after your dream.
Yeah.
Which
is something Soroptimist is really
Yes, because after that event in my life, I felt like I distinctly remember that night just sobbing as I was in my bed alone after getting back from the hospital, feeling that my whole life had been taken from me.
How sad at
It
17.
is, yes. And you know what? I went on to, thank God, be able to try and regain the things that were so important to me in my life. And I have been so blessed, and that's one of the reasons why I want to give back, because I want other survivors to know you can not only survive, you can thrive. And, their story, their voice, it matters just as much as mine does.
Yeah, there's a lot of powerful stories out there.
There are. There are.
And being part of Soroptimist is a great way to find out more about it and how you can help. So I know there's a lot of programs that Soroptimist is involved in. People can go to the website to find out more about those programs. And if people want to hear more, they can always get a hold of you and have you come out and speak about it.
Yes, they
if
can.
you have time in your busy
I
schedule.
absolutely love to do that. I do. And I just had the opportunity to be the keynote speaker at the Oregon District Attorneys Association at their annual conference. And my story started because of a DA, and it was really like coming home. And I love to be able to do that because it is really a story that gives hope.
It does.
And that's what I'm all about.
And on that note, I think we will close tonight. Thank you so much. I thank you very much.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it is a message of hope. Do check out Soroptimist's website and check out the issue of human trafficking, of rape, of victims' rights. There's a lot of information out there. But if you need more information, you know who to call. Thanks for being on here, ladies. I appreciate it. We'll be back with more of Community Hotline in just a moment.